Well, welcome to the second hour of Authentic News right here on RBN Live this fifth day of May 2025. The lines are open. We have one caller on the line. This is a perfect opportunity. Call in, say, get something off your chest, express your opinion, have the opportunity to share it with the public. We are here. We look forward to hearing from you. JP in Chicago, delighted you're there, JP.
Oh,
Speak.
hey, Jim. Hope you had a good weekend.
I did.
Nice. Yeah, I got a lot of house cleaning work done, a lot of heavy work, and feel good when you clean up the house, get rid of the mold and the cobwebs. But
Yes.
to change the subject, though, I really got a strong feeling these remote viewers are predicting a 9/11 coming in. Now, what I worry about is this May 9th Russian parade. A lot of people from all around the world. Xi's going to be there. I think Modi backed down from India because he's got that conflict with Pakistan. But we got some of our press people going there, too. And it's going to be interesting what happens. And that guy, the Zionist shill, Khazarian cross-dressing cokehead, Zelensky, he's already threatened to attack that parade. So as far as I'm concerned, that'll be a huge escalation if he does that or attacks the bridge and there's foreign nationals there and they get injured. That'll be a huge escalation. You think he's going to do it, Jim, or you think he's bluffing and might go for the bridge, the bridge down south by Crimea?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. The guy is a little off his nut, JP. I'm sorry to say. I think there's a good chance he's going to try to attack the bridge again. I think Putin's got no choice now but to get very, very serious. Putin even said that he hoped that it wouldn't be necessary to use nukes in Ukraine. He's letting people know the situation is escalating fast. And frankly, I think this mineral deal may be what Trump wanted, but I don't think it's going to work out the way Trump may have in mind. And the idea of getting us, in the position of having to force Putin to attack Americans because they're working on mineral deal. That's why I say he's got to act fast. He's got to move in now. He's just got to take the whole damn country if necessary, at least take Kiev, and he's got to do it now. He cannot delay. Trump is doing stupid stuff. He claimed he was going to end the stupid wars, but he's making matters worse. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, he does have some controllers, but unfortunately, this is the issue. It's global devil's chessboard, and we got the commies versus the capitalists. Left versus right. We got Iran, China, Russia. They're all in that BRICS. India's on our side. Pakistan's on the Chinese side. Then we got Europe. NATO, and we're all tied at the hip with Europe. And unfortunately, it's these elitists out of London, Switzerland. Like I said, that New World Order. London, Rome, D.C., and Switzerland is at the top. That's where all the money is. That's where they hide all their gold. So these weffers, they want a war. They always do this. World War I and World War II. Mike King really had a good interview. I recommend it if you check out the Untold History channel. Mike King does an interview with this Navy veteran, and he talks about Brian Baruch. Now, these are the hidden guys in the shadow. Brian Baruch set up the First World War, basically, and he was a lobbyist from Wall Street. So he controlled Woodrow Wilson and blackmailed him. That's what they think. He was the blackmailer. And then that solidified their power with the Federal Reserve. They had a money printing machine. They had IRS to steal money out of us like an octopus. Baruch was also there with FDR. His wife is also a commie. And King really opened it up about these guys in the shadow. So when you're looking at the president, you got to look at who's behind him, right? Who are the guys behind him? And Trump did get a lot of money from these Zionists to get elected. And they're not it's the problem with a lot of the Israeli lobby. You got the communist side and then you got the Zionist side. So they're very much split as well. And one last thing I noticed about Israel, when that false flag war hit off at October 7th, there was a huge amount of Russian Jews that came down from Russia to fight for Israel. I mean, I remember seeing the flight tracker and all that. I mean, thousands of Russian Jews came down. And also Zelensky is a Russian Jew. His father fought for the Red Army. Did you know that?
Yes, you're right. He's Russian. He was born in Russia. You are correct. You are 100% correct.
I'm worried he could be a double. He could be doing stupid things on purpose. And that's another thing about Sun Tzu. I mean, Putin is a genius, ex-KGB, you know, but if you look at Sun Tzu, it says never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. And that's what Zelensky is. He's a clown. And he's getting thousands of men dying a week, and he's just sending them to meat grinder. And there's really no chance of them winning, pulling people off the street. And then he's selling all the women, and it's the number one sex trafficking of white women getting sold to Middle Eastern countries. That's Zelensky. That's the Ukraine. They had 42 bioweapons labs. What else? They're into body harvesting. I mean, just all kinds of sick crap. And then all the money he's getting from this war, he doesn't want it to end because he's making out like a bandit. And that's the same thing with Israel. I hate to say it, go on a tangent with these guys all day long. I'll be called anti-Zionist, but Bibi is going to jail if he don't continue this war. And he's opened up a whole new front there in Gaza. He's he's going in. They just voted on it. Did you hear about that?
No. Tell me, what was just voted upon?
Well, I've been doing the Wu-Wei reports on it, and they surrounded Gaza, and they were ready to go in. And then I heard today, I think it was from Napolitano and one of his guests, they said that the Israeli army had voted to go into Gaza and do, you know, like a stormtrooper movement because they were just bombing for this whole time and doing scorched earth. Well, now they're going to do some kind of, Stalingrad. He called it ground assault, but he called it, he specifically said a Stalingrad. And if you remember Stalingrad, the Russians lost millions of men. They were sending men to the meat grinder, and they lost millions. They won the battle, but they lost a lot of troops. So that's what they're talking about. And I can't see the Israeli doing that without, and this comes back to the remote viewing. In order for them to kick this off, the remote viewers are seeing planes hitting buildings.
Again, planes hitting buildings?
That's what Dick Algar said in his latest remote viewing. He had 5 guys that are pretty much well-trained in it. He's not always correct. And the future's in flux. We can change it. But he's seeing false flags, another 9/11 coming. If that happens, then we're dragged right into it. And that's the only way Israel and Zelensky, and I think both of them are working together with Mossad. That's the only way they could drag us into a war is if they pull off a false flag. And that's what I'm worried about coming up in the next week. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, hoping it doesn't happen. But that's their playbook. You know, Jim, that's their playbook. Look at 9/11. Look at October 7th. Gulf of Tonkin. It's the same old playbook.
Planes hitting buildings again? Tell me again. What do you think is going to happen here, JP?
Well, that's what they came up with. That's the visions they get. They get these visions, and they do targeting of new future events in the near term.
Right.
And they get blind targeted. So in order to do it correctly, you have to not know what it is. You get these trained remote viewers. Then you all give them the matrix code, which is an 8-digit code. And then they come up with the results. And what happens is they're all blind, but they're all coming up with the same results. And all of them were all talking about a 9/11 event coming up in May. They said May. No, and I've been looking at my research. I haven't checked this out remote viewing-wise, but just looking at the
9/11 event. Now, the 9/11, if you understand what really happened, was an Israeli attack on America, fabricated to make it look as though it was Arabs, to justify American troops being sent to the Middle East, to take out the modern Arab states that served as a counterbalance to Israel's domination of the entire region, and eventually to confront the Persian nation of Iran, which is happening now. So, what would be the point of another 9/11? I'm having difficulty envisioning what this would be. What is your best thought, JP?
Well, putting my head into BB's mind, which is really sick. He wants to take out Iran. Now, the problem with Iran is they got the hypersonic missiles. Houthi just shot a hypersonic missile that hit the airport the other day, the Iran airport.
Yeah, and they can't stop. Yeah.
Yes, and they got really advanced.
Okay.
S-500.
So this one's going to be blamed on Iran, right? This one's going to be blamed on Iran, but nobody's going to believe it. Well, they'll use it anyway. Nobody has to believe it. It goes on. They declare it happened, and Iran was responsible, all of which is false. They know it's false. It's another lie. But they use it to justify attacking Iran. My understanding is, by the way, that this guy Waltz was fired. I mean, I got the story in tomorrow, but he was actually fired because he was planning an attack on Iran with Bibi Netanyahu behind Trump's back.
Yep,
and that
he was.
The guys who were assisting Hegseth who got fired were fired because they were promoting an attack on Iran. So I think Trump really does not want to attack Iran. Go with that, JP.
That's absolutely correct. That's the same intel source. I heard that today as well, that Waltz was fired for that reason. Also, Wong was his assistant. Wong was, his wife was part of some kind of, she was a Democrat with the Obama administration. I think she's a judge. I forget what her position was, but that Wong guy was a deep state mole, and he was his right-hand guy. So Waltz, I knew Waltz was compromised. That's obvious, and so Trump getting rid of it. Trump's trying to avoid this. He wants to make America great again. Open up Alcatraz. He's doing it. He's doing a lot of great things on the border. So the globalists don't want that, and they want to get him away from MAGA and send him into a black hole in the Middle East, and that's what I'm afraid of. So just talking about it, us talking about now, we could change the future. If we get enough people out there to be awake and aware, and that's the great time about the information age we live in now, Jim. I mean, we can change the future. These elites have had power and control of the media, over the newspaper, over the government for so long, and they're losing, they're slipping their grip. So just by talking about it, I think we can change it. And I think having Trump in there, and whether you got TDS or not, he's the fly in the ointment, man. He's really screwing up their plans. So if anybody can stop it, I think he can. That's my theory, anyways.
Yeah. Well, that's good, JP. I appreciate all that. I'm glad you're here, my friend. Anything you want to add? A final thought?
Just MTG. I really like this girl. She's anti-Ukraine. Hard-working. She looks like she's really Native American. She's got high cheekbones, really good. And I've seen her lifting weights. So boy, she's a strong alpha female. And we need more women like that in power. So I got to say, I tip my hat to MTG.
Thanks, JP. Thank you for the call. Sherry in Kansas, go ahead, Sherry. Join the conversation, Sherry.
Hi, Jim. Jim, this is in your remark about the Soviet Army in World War II.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you've never read Major Jordan's diaries?
Go ahead, tell us.
Well, now, that's available on the Internet, and one place it's available, I know, is sweetliberty.org, which Darren Weeks was the one that put that up. It's Jackie Petru's website, but Darren was her web guy. But Major George Racy Jordan, he was the one that did he was probably 3 or 4 tiers down from the people that were actually running this program. And it was Lend-Lease. But he was the one that did made sure all the shipments got out and stuff. Okay, and this one reference I got, and I think it might be from U.S. Representative Hamilton Fish, Republican from New York, who is as far back as January 6, 1939, he was complaining that FDR was trying to get us in a war. And he ended up writing a book. It came out in 1983. And I think that's where this guy's getting these numbers that he put in his book. This is from the U.S., from the Lend-Lease program. 20,000 aircraft, 440,000 trucks, thousands of tons of munitions, leather goods for boots, material for uniforms, mass amounts of barbed wire, large quantities of telephone lines, thousands of locomotives, as well as automobiles, massive amounts of food, and industrial supplies. Now, and according to Major Jordan, at times it was at the expense of our troops. And if FDR hadn't told Eisenhower to hold Patton back, Patton would have liberated Berlin and some of the other Eastern Bloc countries, and they wouldn't have had to live 40 years under communism. The Soviet army was so cruel. They were raping women and killing civilians so cruelly. They were just devils.
Of course, the Allies were mass bombing all the German cities, all civilians. There were war crimes enough all the way around. Now, when I talk about the Russian contribution, it had more to do with the Russian winter, because, Hitler stupidly sought to invade Russia, and he was destroyed by the winter. Similar had happened to Napoleon. It's very curious. Go ahead.
The only ones they got after, when he invaded Poland, England came down on him, England and France. But Stalin invaded from the other side, and they didn't say anything about that.
Well,
they didn't come down on him.
Stalin was our ally. Stalin was an ally. It was Stalin and the U.S. and the U.K. in France were all working together to defeat Germany. So they were on our side.
Well,
Pat, said he thought we went after the wrong enemy, that we should have been going after the Soviets instead of the Germans. Now, that's controversial, obviously. That Pat was that kind of guy. Go ahead.
If Hitler was so bad, and this had to be at the time, the Time magazine was not dominated by the Jews, because in 1938 they gave him Man of the Year.
Yeah.
Because of the way he turned the economic situation around in Germany by then.
Yeah. But remember,
and they had to destroy him just as they have to destroy any other thing that tries to change the money system from the way it is. So
remember now, man of the Year is a person who, for good or for bad, had the greatest influence on events that year. It doesn't mean they were a good guy. The Man of the Year could be a bad guy. It's just a guy who had made the biggest difference that year becomes Man of the Year. So, I think Hitler did do economic miracle in Germany. I think that's 100% correct. There are too many sources documenting it. He secured the borders, and he got the Jews out of finance and banking. They weren't allowed because they have this tendency to take over countries by means of finance and banking, just as they have tremendous influence here through the Fed and all their other infiltration of our government. And I'm telling you, it ain't good. We're suffering under a kind of a Zionist occupation right here. It has taken me so long to get a handle on this, and I never really thought about religion making a big difference. Now we have war between India and Pakistan, the Hindus and the Muslims, and Ukraine. Ukraine is basically being run by Jews against Russia. Now, Putin, as I understand, is himself a Jew. but it's a sovereign nation. Those who are dying on the battlefield are Christian. You got about 1 million Christians who have died, which many think was intended in part to create more room for Jews to migrate back to Ukraine from Israel, because they're not related to the tribe of Judah. They have, as it's sometimes said, no Hebrew blood. They have no claim to the promised land. That's all the Palestinians. Palestinians have the legitimate legacy that traced back to these early tribes, not the present residents of Israel. So it's really quite a mess. But
well,
look, I respect anyone who wants to take a contrary view about these complicated historical events. Go ahead, add further thoughts. Yours.
In both cases, they're in Palestine after World War I, and right now, and after World War II, what they did to Germany, they cut off Germany from their coal. Those people were freezing since World War I, and it was, and the Germans didn't start World War I.
Right.
And
Sherry, your theme is absolutely correct. Germany's got a bad rap in relation to both World War I and World War II. I agree. I think most.
And this Pakistan-India deal.
Yeah.
I looked on a map I've got where the Indus River, and see, the Brits were responsible for that too. They should have given Kashmir to the Pakistanis.
Yes.
Because the Indians are cutting off the water.
That's right. There's a treaty between Pakistan and India over the Indus water, which is indispensable to both, and India has cut off water to Pakistan. That's why we're on the verge of what's going to become a nuclear war. I think it's more likely to happen there than anywhere else, even though we think we're going to focus on Israel and Iran and Ukraine and Russia. I think India and Pakistan is a place most likely for things to blow nuclear.
Well, and the thing is that the majority of the population, even back then, was Muslim.
Sure. And Pakistan. Sure.
They should have given Kashmir to, because if you look at the topography of Pakistan,
yes,
it's pretty mountainous compared to India. India's got a lot of places they can farm. You have to you have to learn how to, I can't think of the word now, but the way they grow on the sides of hills, you know what I'm talking about? But terrace. You have to terrace to do that. But anyway, and that's labor intensive. So I'll get off but
Sherry, I like your call. I'm glad you called.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, call again. Cynthia in California, welcome back, Cynthia. Join the conversation.
Without using dangerous chemicals to him. So this white powder is basically a mineral powder that will injure roaches, but any other crawling bugs too. So it won't injure us unless you were to. You can actually take a teaspoon and put it in your mouth, and it tastes nasty. I wouldn't do it. They sell it as an additive to cattle feed.
Cynthia, I missed something. I don't know what we're talking about. What are we talking about?
Oh, Jim, I didn't hear you sign in. Sorry. Hi. I want to talk about.
You were having a separate conversation. You didn't know you were on the air. Yeah, that's okay, Cynthia.
Right.
Go ahead.
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I want to talk about the fact that Trump has apparently issued a statement that he is no longer going to tolerate foreign interests interfering with American patents. And, of course, this goes back to our friend Michael McKibben and the theft of his software that was turned into Facebook. And, if you look at the patent office, that's been run by Serco, which is a British monarch-controlled company. Well, thank goodness they're up in Canada and they're making angry noises towards us. it'll make it easier for Trump to levy on the British monarch, and basically over decades they've been stealing American patents. And we need the families of some of these men, of course, are already deceased, and they need to start standing up and demanding that Trump have an expose of all the work stolen, because the average person never hears about it, because you have to wait for somebody to make some noise, and until the internet came of age, there really wasn't a way to make much noise. And there's all these zero-point technologies, these energy technologies, that somebody deserves to be paid for those, and said they were stolen and given to the corporations owned by the elite. And so we need that will return a lot of finances to America, because he's going to need that big military to go after them, because they steal assets from here. 21 trillion as of 2015, documented by Captain Austin Fitts.
Yeah.
And they take that money and they bring it back in and they buy up America, but they've bought up America with fraudulent money, right?
Yeah.
We're paying the debt on the debt interest. So that all needs to be straightened out. He cannot sell off America to these people.
Yes.
So that's where I'm coming from. And I need people to call in with ideas for how we can get that message out there. But find that document. It's floating around the internet that Trump has signed, that we're going to reclaim those American patents. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Good idea. Good idea, Cynthia. Any further thoughts, final thoughts you want to add?
Yes. We need to make it very clear that there will not be another false flag to drag us into a war. And I'm saying...
Wishful thinking, but go ahead, Cynthia. Go ahead. Did we lose you?
Of those men, they need to sue the state of Israel. In addition to stealing the estates, even if they've been settled, you can still go after them, of Lyndon Baines Johnson, because he was set up the murder. He set up the murder. That is not protected under the Constitution. A president cannot set up citizens for murder by sending them out there to be deliberately bombed and then try to hide it. And then every president since then who has engaged in a cover-up of murder of those 34 men from the U.S. of Liberty. And all the men who were injured and died subsequently.
I think it was 151 injured, I think. 34 killed, 151 injured. It was on that order, Cynthia,
I thought the number total was like 184, something like that.
Well,
I could be mistaken.
That's okay. We can look it up. USS
If people want to start crowdfunding something like that, they should contact the survivors of that USS Liberty.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay.
I know.
There's a shadow hanging over me. Oh, yesterday came suddenly. Why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say. I said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday. Love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away.
Nice, very nice. Checking on the Liberty. 34 dead, 171 injured. 34 dead, 171 injured. Tom, welcome back, my friend. Join the conversation. Tom from Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello. Good day. Yeah, Jim. First off, you remember that movie Clint Eastwood, Alcatraz?
Yeah, was that an attempt to swim out away from the? They claim no one ever succeeded, but I think maybe somebody did. Go ahead, tell me.
Yeah, three guys got away. Three guys. Clint Eastwood made a great movie. It's called Alcatraz. You need to watch it. Three guys escaped. Two brothers and another guy. Anyway, Trump is going to pump in accordingly right now. At minimum, he's going to put a down payment of $8 million to open Alcatraz up for these illegal aliens. So I think that's a great move in California. I believe it's going to. I think the price tag. Yeah. What?
How many will it hold, though, Tom? It's only a little drop in a bucket concerning the millions.
I think they say it can hold up if they're going to redo it. I guess take some cells and make it like a detention center. I think they say it can hold up to 1,400 people. Well, it ain't much, but it's better than nothing.
But that's such a tiny drop in the bucket. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, since the prison's already there, Jim, they don't have to build another facility from the ground up. So I think Trump said it's going to cost a total of like $18 million. They're going to put $8 million in it, see how it goes, and then I guess they'll revise it even more to make it a holding center. But you got to remember that's in San Francisco, so that'll be a great thing. I think that's a great move by Trump. I think it's a brilliant move to make that a retaining center for illegal aliens.
You can probably find. You could probably find 1,400 worthy inmates in Oakland alone, Tom.
Correct. Yes. San Francisco, Oakland. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. That's one thing that's coming down the pike today. And I will get to the Beagle dogs with Trump to sign the bill. I don't know if you got to see the bill on the Beagles. Did you hear about that?
Tell us the Beagles.
There'll be no more animal experimentation on any
protest
on canines. Any canine dog breed will ever be experimented on again.
Talk about cruelty to
that's
animals.
Another brilliant move.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And also on that, Jim, they're gonna look into Fauci with these animal sacrifices they did with all these beagles. So I think people are going to get arrested. I think people are going to go to jail. I think some people
we want to see it. Tom, we want to see it. We want to see it.
Right on. Right. Now, Jim, the main reason I called your show is, I know you've reported, I guess, a little bit, but what do you say about Nigel Farage taking over the government in the UK to prime ministership?
I think I'm unaware. Go ahead, fill us in, Tom. Tell us about it.
Well,
what's going on?
He just won a big election in England. He's making it where no illegal aliens will be housed in a hotel getting paid by the taxpayers dime for free in London or anywhere. You come in illegally in England, you're going to be kicked back over to France. Because you're basically coming through France to get to England. And Farage ain't having none of that. That's why he's leading in all the polls. And it's going to be shocking what's going to happen in Europe. And I believe Le Pen, she's going to win her case, and she's going to be able to run for prime minister. But if she doesn't, there's another guy in the wings that they say is more right-wing than Marine Le Pen. So I think Europe is ready to explode. It looks like Conor McGregor is pulling up in the polls in Ireland. So I think there's a lot of stuff breaking in over on the Western European coast that's going to shock the world.
Good.
I want to see how this is going to play out here in the next 6 months. Of course, I believe France is a linchpin to straighten out a lot of this immigration invasion of all the white nations. So we'll see what happens. I think people are fed up. Now, Jim.
Okay.
Now I want to get back. Yeah, go ahead. What you got to say, Jim?
Go right ahead, Tom.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Also watching the news, I got to say, I listened to Layla last night on Murr's show, and I thought Layla made a great call. She's very knowledgeable about the Middle East. So, and I got to say, Layla is very knowledgeable what's going on with the schmucks. And Layla's right on the money. If she's listening, there are good Jews. But the Zionist, Schweinist, Kabbalist reading son of a guns ain't worth the crap. But I have to agree with Layla. There are some good Jews, especially the ones that believe in Jesus Christ. Okay? And then Messianic Jews. So I have to agree with Layla's call yesterday. She made a really informative call. I learned a lot about the different groups of people over there in the Middle East. She knows a lot more than I do about that. Like you know about the Kennedy assassination. But I'll say Layla made a good. I listened today, and I don't know why. I just happened to punch out an RBN and listen to Joe for last. I listened to, looking and I saw and I heard Layla. And she was talking about, and I had to agree with she was saying about there's some Jews that are good, but the ones that are Zionists are no good. They are the Christ killers, Jim. They are the Christ killers. And until they acknowledge it, they're all going HE double toothpicks. So that's the way I feel about that. Now, going back to what's going on in the Middle East, I already told you I'm not happy with Trump backing up Israel all the time because they were started as a state. And as far as you're talking about the Liberty, it was Menachem Begin, the one-eyed character that gave that order to attack the Liberty. It was Begin.
Yeah.
Moshe
Dayan. Begin wasn't one-eyed. It was Moshe Dayan who was one-eyed.
I mean, Moshe Dayan. Thank you, Moshe Dayan. That's right. You're right.
A brilliant general.
That's the one who gave He's the one that gave the order to attack the Liberty. Yes, Diane. That's right. That's what Layla will tell you. She knows more about that, I guess, about that at that time period. But yeah, we know. By the way, Hollywood's being cleaned out as we're speaking. Mel Gibson, John Voight, Sylvester Stallone, they're cleaning up Hollywood. Hollywood ain't going to be the same, man. Hollywood ain't going to be a bunch of kissy, touchy, feely, bend over, grab your ankle types anymore. They're actually cleaning up. They're going to make movies about men and women about women and movies about women. And heterosexual movies is between a man and a woman having children. This crap that a woman can a man have a kid, Jim? Huh?
Yeah. Go woke, go broke, I mean, see, Disney had some big flops because they were making these woke movies,
Yeah, Snow White. Maybe Snow crap.
Yeah.
So, I just think there's a lot of good things happening under Trump right now that's going to happen in the last 90, 100 days.
Yeah.
And I tell you, the Middle East is not good. But, Jim, you know what? We need to stay out of all those wars. We need to stay out of the Middle East war. We need to stay away from Ukraine and Russia. The Chinese, well, if the Chinese make a move on Japan or the Philippines, then we got to jump on their ass. We could not allow ever that. Or he'd ever try to go attack Australia.
Yeah, Tom. Good.
We would never allow that. That'd be World War III.
Good, Tom.
There wouldn't be nothing left in China.
Give us a final. You'll be glad to know Layla is standing by the way. She will be joining us here today. I'm glad you made all these points here, Tom. Give us a final thought.
Well, my final thought is I think, we got to give it another 100 days and see what happens in 100 days from now as far as what else is coming down the pike. I think good things are happening. I think Trump's going to pass the Social Security where you don't pay tax on Social Security, tax on tips. I think there's a lot of great things going to happen to the economy of the United States. And I believe Canada's going to have to follow suit and the rest of the world. They're going to have to follow suit through the United States because we are, in my book, still number one when it comes to military. And we always will be. We got weapons nobody even knows about. So I don't think anybody wants to mess with the United States, Jim. Seriously.
Yeah.
I think my final thought is we got somebody waiting in the wings, something with Trump. We got J.D. Vance. And you got a lot of good bench. The Republican Party has a big bench. The Democrats have nobody. AOC, Bernie Sanders, two Marxist, full-blown communists. No, Jim,
David Hogg.
Trying to get away. David Hogg. Out.
David Hogg is their secret weapon, Tom.
Oh, God, jeez. He's from South Florida. He's a real nitwit. That guy's come on. Anyway, all right, Jim, that's what I say. Is all I can say. I'm looking at the flag right now. I'm going to salute it for you.
You got it, Tom. Thank you. Good call. Good call. Alexander in Canada. Join us, Alexander.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted a couple of points. In regards to the first caller, I just disagree. He said that Trump is standing in the way of the New World Order and stopping their plans. I disagree with that completely. See, look at Trump. He's bombing Yemen. He's suppressing free speech in the United States, which is exactly what the New World Order wants him to do.
Yeah.
And see, I totally agree with you what you said on 9/11. Like this was a completely Jewish Israeli operation. They did it to blame the Arabs. And so they could do their plans. And And so I just want to ask a question. What do you think of the new prime minister here in Canada?
Layla's not too happy with him. I don't know enough to say myself. Your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Alexander?
Yeah, I heard Layla's comments, and I agree. Like the guy was in the Bank of England, and like he was with the World Economic Forum and all that. So yeah, like I just thought that you might have known something that she didn't know, but in
this instance, I do not. Yeah, no, I think you are both ahead of me by a mile on this guide. Keep going, Alexander.
Yes, and another point regarding the caller Cynthia, she talked about World War II. So you have to understand that the Russians have suffered the most in World War II.
Yes.
Now, look, sir, I'm not in favor of the Russians and they're communist, and also a lot of the people that got killed in Russia were killed by the Jewish Bolsheviks and also they've killed the Jewish people killed a lot of Ukrainians in the 1930s in their genocide, the Holodomor. So I just want to. You see, we always hear about the 6 million Jews that got killed, which is a lie, but we never hear about all the killings done by the Bolsheviks, and they've killed way more people than what the Nazis have killed.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Good, Alexander. Very good. Layla, join the conversation. Delighted.
First of all, hello, Jim. But first of all, thank you, Tom, for your comments. That means a lot coming from you because I know how critical you are of people, how cautious you are about things. And I've always called you the modern-day Paul Revere, if you remember the early days in Rivero shows. And so thank you for that. And as for Alexander, he's getting really sharp. I mean, he's catching on. He's getting smoother, and he's. I've always said he's going to be a good advocate for whatever he takes up. So, bravo, Alexander. With regard to the American government and Trump, you know, as critical as I am of Trump, and the fact that he took all the Zionist money, there was really no other way anymore to get elected except to play along with the Zionist game. They took over so early, starting with George Washington, who was supported by the very first Israeli synagogue in Rhode Island, and there's letters on record from them and from Washington to them saying that he would be happy to appease them. Yes. It's I'll find it for you for the next time. Yes. The very first he wrote to them. Washington wrote to them and thanked them for their support. And I can find that letter for you because the Rhode Island Synagogue has it online bragging about their influence over them and how Washington praised them. So, and it's just, you know, by the time they look what they did to Woodrow Wilson. They bribed Truman. That was well known to be the first within minutes of the fake state of Israel declaring itself a state. Truman gave it credibility because within minutes he recognized it. So, and he was paid. If he wasn't, and if he took the money, maybe, but the point is they would have threatened him. They've just always used threats, bribery, enticement, seduction. They use every dirty trick in the book. And that's from the beginning. So by the time Trump walks in, what is he going to do? How can he, if he's going to be an ethical man, he'd never get elected. What we have to hope for is that Trump slowly will find his way to liberate himself from their clutches, or at least make it easier for future American presidents to be the president of America. Now, as for Carney, I think he's far worse because he is a globalist, without a doubt, and he's not open about it. Carney is very sneaky and very sly, whereas Trump doesn't even bother to hide it. Trump at least is honest about where he gets his money from and accepting awards and gifts from the people and going to the APAC and playing the game. At least he's out in the open. Carney is sly. He pretends to be one thing when he's far worse. So I prefer someone who lets me know up front who they are and what they're doing and why. And then I have to understand why. But the other thing I've done, I have to give credit to Murr. She knew an awful lot. But, you know, the whole Weekend crew, Mike Gaddy, Blackbird, I've been listening to them more, and they're so knowledgeable. I never understood when I was working in New Orleans, I never understood the hostility. I thought it was because I was a Canadian, and then others told me, no, it's not because you're Canadian. It's because you're a Northerner. Well, I didn't understand that either. I didn't understand the concept of Reconstruction and what it meant. I didn't understand that it was not a civil war. It was an occupation of the North by the British playing both sides, because they enabled the cotton from the South to get to Britain so they could sell their textiles around the world. But they also made it possible for the North to control the South. I didn't completely understand before. Now I understand so much more. RBN is really an important institution. It's become an institution because of that. And I wish to God I had more money. I would do anything to be able, if I could afford it, but things are just so hard right now. But anybody who can spare money, RBN is absolutely essential. There's just no other place. There's no other place where we can not only express our opinions, but learn from those who know the things that we don't know. I can sympathize now. My heart goes out to the Southerners because they essentially have been occupied people like the Palestinians were for so long. But it was hidden because we were all mesmerized by the propaganda. This Uncle Sam and the wonderful America, the land of the free and the brave. It was a wonderful illusion, and maybe it can still come true. But even looking back at George Washington, who succumbed, remember George Washington took money to pay for his troops from a guy named Solomon. And that says a lot. And then you have Jefferson, who claims that he wrote the Declaration of Independence without using any other sources. That's not true. Anybody look at the Declaration of Arbroath, Arbroath. That was done, I think, in the 1400s, where it was a declaration written to the Pope, because at the time the Pope had control over all of Europe. They were pleading to him to get England. They've got 7 kingdoms in England, Scotland said. Get them to leave us alone. We want to be free. We want to choose our king and get rid of our king. We have to be in control of our king, and we don't want to have to be always under siege by England. Ultimately, England managed to bribe all the nobles of Scotland to get rid of the peasants. But anyway,
I've had 2 more callers. I want to squeeze. Can you give us a final thought? But it's a wonderful call, and you're making a lot of them.
My final call is thank God for RBN. I mean, although I've been critical of you and I've been critical of others, I didn't fully understand. By this weekend, again, I want to thank Mike Gaddy. I want to thank Murr and Blackbird and all those others, and especially Mike and Sam and Julie. Thank you all so much. That's all. Thank you.
Very nice, Leila.
God bless America for the future. Okay.
Thank you so
Bye,
much. Thank you, Jim in Michigan. Join the conversation, Jim.
so crazy. I'm sorry, Jim. I listened to a program, and it was calling in because I'm right in the middle of that ice storm we had.
Yes.
And I've got pictures, and I mean, it was so incredible what happened up here with that ice storm. I thought I'd kind of give you what was happening. But we don't have enough time, my friend. But I'll tell you what, I have a day now where it's actually sunny out here, and it's kind of cool because we usually have chemtrails over. I have real clouds, God's clouds, and in the middle of the cloud to the east of me, there's like a half moon, just a little bit up there. So I'm just going to let it be like that, and I'll call you again maybe tomorrow, and we could talk about what happened.
Do
it's
it,
a
Jim.
crazy story, man, but
that'd be perfect. Thanks, Jim.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, take care. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Dan, you got the opportunity, fella. Join the conversation.
Hey, thanks. I wanted to call and say great call from Sherry. I think she laid it out really skillfully and plainly about the facts about World War II, and yeah, I appreciate that. Just basic knowledge of World War II that most Americans don't understand. And I learned a lot from Republic as well, about World War II. And would you say your generation was the first PSYOP generation? Because, after World War II, they pretty much invented the television. And you're basically, when you were born after that, like my parents, you were so brainwashed with the Nazis, Hitler propaganda and you were also brainwashed that Jews don't run the financial system, and you're not supposed to talk about that. So that seems to be a key. Like your whole life, when you look back, Gloria Steinem, Timothy Leary, all of it, would you say that your generation was totally living under a PSYOP, basically?
Not mine, Dan. Remember, I was born in 1940. So, the war was just starting to build up. It was, my dad would say a year and a day after Pearl Harbor, a year and a day before. It was December 7, 1941. See, so I was born a year and a day before Pearl Harbor. So my dad served in the Army. He was stateside, never served abroad. But no, it was a fascinating time to grow up. And go ahead, say, what do you say?
I just mean the history. Like, people during World War II all knew a lot of those. Like Henry Ford was writing books, Charles Lindbergh. But then your generation learned the fake history of World War II, basically, that America was the good guy and we had to do all that and fighting for freedom and all that kind of stuff.
Well, it takes a long time to realize that a president of the United States would allow an attack like Pearl Harbor to take place because he felt the country was too isolationist to want to get him involved. I'd say it's like Bush and Cheney. Well, Cheney in particular allowing 9/11 to take place because he wanted to promote an Israeli agenda and his own benefit and Halliburton and all that, because he was the executive director on the ground here running the shop that day from a bunker beneath the White House. All really unbelievable. Dan, thank you, everyone. Thank you for calling. Yeah. Remember to spend as much time as you can with your family, your friends, and people you love and care about, because it may start in Pakistan and India, but we do not know how much time we have left. Spend it wisely and support RBN. Back